Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of our forum today. In today's forum, we are going to discuss about education and globalization issues with me, Siti binti Omar, and another three panels who are so special to me and I'm super excited to introduce them to you. So our panels for today are Aisyah binti Abu Hanifah, Qamarul Arifin bin Abdul Rajah, Fatin Nadzirah Zain, and also me. So to begin our forum today, let's start with Aisyah and Qamarul who are going to discuss about education issues.
Alright, hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, as you guys know me already, have been introduced by Siti Hawa. Thank you so much. So, my name is Aisyah binti Abu Hanifah. That will be your first presenter that discuss and talk about the details in international education. So, before that, let's see this. Just for set induction, I see, to get your attention, right? So first, actually I brought, so come back. So actually I brought 5 elements that will be shared and discussed to you guys. So the first one is the definition. We want to know what is the definition of the international education. Second, we want to see the example of the international education. Next, we go to the perspective, and then we have the good or disadvantages, and we want to know what is the best or disadvantages of the international education. Alright, so without further ado, let's move to the first one, is the definition of the international education. So I take it from the Wiley Online Library that stated the international education refer to the dynamic concept of involve of journey and movement of the people mind across a political and cultural frontier. So, the dynamic concept involves of the broad range of the learning, coverage and instance for formal education and also informal education. For example, we have training, we have exchange program, and we have cross-culture communication. Alright, so I would like to get you more near in international baccalaureate IB. I have been discussed more details during semester 5 if I'm not mistaken. So have been defined the international education according to the following criteria. So the first one is we want to developing the citizen of the world in relation to culture, language and learning to live together. Therefore, we will build and reinforcing the student's sense of the identity and culture awareness. So the last one is we want to equipping the student with skills, knowledge according across a broad range of the area. So might be the country a lack of some facilities or some education system facilities, so that when they study abroad or got opportunity to study abroad, they can and take the skill, the knowledge to be implement in their country. Alright, so what can be concluded here? Actually, a central of education of international life is recognizing of the unity of mankind in a common shared world. Next is the goal of the international education is to meet the need of the global economy dominated by a powerful nation. Yes, from that it will help our country or others country to build up the rapport, to build up their diplomatic relationship. So will help in our economy. So here are the extra knowledge which is I want to share to you guys. The reason why people to study abroad, because they believe that foreign country offer a better learning facilities, as I said, compared to our own country. Second, we hope to getting employment for this country after studies. So this is informed by the fact that just country are developed, hence getting job is easier. And the last one, we want to enjoy or extremely to come with a study abroad is hard to resist, especially among the students from developing countries. Okay, so next we go to the example of the international education. So the first one is taking part of the student exchange program, and second we have a student broad program. So the first one is taking part in a student exchange program. UiTM also offered this kind of program under the Office of the International Affairs (OIA. We're not just send the student, UiTM students to other country. We also accept the student from other country to study in UiTM. So for example, we have students from China, Korea, Indonesia, and many more. So from that, actually will help or to give a view to this student on how the Malaysia education or UiTM itself, the education system, and from that the student can be share their view to the student that unable to come in the student exchange program. So from that, it will help the other university that send the student to the Malaysia to take the good thing that they get from the student exchange program to be implemented at their own country. So next is a study abroad program. Here I list the best countries in the world to study abroad, ranking 2020. So still latest. So the first one we have Canada, we have Australia, Germany, and follow until the last one is France. Yeah. So there's 70% of the Malaysia student want to study overseas. I'm sure you or me myself also have a dream to study at overseas. So might be you can continue your master or you want to continue your PhD. If you get offers, why not, right? So next we go to the first one. The third one is the perspective of the international education. So the first one is the able to bridge the culture and linguistic divide. Yes, we want to promote a better understanding of the and appreciate the others people, culture, religions, and also geographical. So I'm not saying that if we're studying local we can't do this thing, but we have a limit. Eventually, if you study abroad, you will see it face to face, right? So you learn about it and then you can take what a good and what the bad one. Okay, next is also we want to exchange the knowledge. So by the flow of the international student, it's a very dynamic and important aspect of the world's transition. So we can grab the new knowledge or the new idea from the student from the other country. So from that they have a different perspective, they have a different view. So from that we can take it, the good thing we can take it to be implemented in our country or ourselves. Next is we go to the good of the international education. So there are many things. So first of all is a quality of the education and a better job opportunity. So I said before, so because of the country have been provide a good facilities, facilities and offer a learning facilities better than our country. So and then we also hope that getting employed from the country after we study. So if you are from the high rank or in a good university at the overseas, you might be have get a better job opportunity. For example, we have Dr. Amalina, right? So she after SPM she had been offered to study abroad, and Alhamdulillah after she done her research, and then he get an offer to at the one of the hospital. Next is we're able to learn a new language. Yes, we're able to learn a new language because we are daily we make it a routine to speak the other countries' language. So next is we have a study abroad scheme. Study abroad scheme is expand the cultural understanding of the student. It's mean by opening the door to the overseas student as well as relating our own student experience study abroad, right? So as you experience when the student from Korea come to our faculty, so we feel like wow, something new vibe because of we can see the other risks that come to our university. So by help the student and teacher to communicate with and understand other culture, people, geographical that usually inaccessible. Next is a school or partnership, which is school partnership is allow the different educational or institution to part up. This is where we have the relationship with these two thing. It will help to transfer the idea and learning material. So it will force a positive international relationship. Okay. Next is we have bring a lot of change in mindset. Yes, for example, the student study in Japan, for example. So Japan really advanced in technology and also cleanliness. So from that, it will bring up the different change of mindset. Student that study there on how the technology itself and the cleanliness, so they can implement it in our own country. And then the last one, we can create a wide cross culture network. Yes, because of we study abroad, we have meet a different kind of people, different race, different culture. So from that, we can create our wide cross culture network. So it will help you in study, in searching for job, and many kind of thing. Next, the last one, we go to the back of the international education. So the first one is, you already know, which is it quite costly. Yes, because of, you guys already know, our currency are different from the other country, right? So if you study in UK, so our currency and UK currency are different, so it might be costly to people to afford it, because of we need to have a tuition, we need to pay for accommodation fee that might be higher rate compared to our countries. Alright. So next is we can also have a language barrier. So because of language divides, right? So we're not familiar with the language, so we have some difficulties in understand about what the lecturer say. So I would like to take one example of my friends that study in Indonesia. So the first years, she just take the culture, all the lesson about the culture and the language, because of they want to make sure the student know and understand the culture of the Indonesia. So the second years, they will learn about the medic. So language barrier also will be difficult to you because you unable to understand what the lecturer says, so it will be hard to you to understand the lesson. So next is a culture shock. So culture shock can be happen everywhere, even if you not study abroad, local also you can, but knowing other culture is actually not easy. It becoming even harder during re-entering in one original culture. Next is the university credit might not be valid or accept everywhere. So this is a very scared, because of you already spend your money, you have been spend your time study there. Eventually, if you come to Malaysia, for example, and then you want to cut your credit, eventually cannot, because of not valid or accepted. So this is your job to search a good rank of the university. You need to search the certificate of the university, so that your credit might be valid and be accepted by the others country. So from me, thank you so much. Wait. So therefore, as a conclusion, study abroad is a wonderful in everywhere. However, it doesn't mean there is a smooth experience. It's come with challenges. Therefore, this is important for a prospective international student to do some research about the culture and geographical features in a destination of your choice. This will allow for equipping the preparation to fit in a new environment. From that, thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi. Today we will be discuss another topic that related to education and globalization issues, which is transnational education. By the way, my name is Muhammad Qamarul Arifin and I will be your presenter for this topic. By definition, transnational education can be described as all types of higher education study programs or courses, including distance education, in which learners is located at a different country from where the awarding institution is based. Transnational education is also known as borderless education, cross-border education, and offshore education. Example of transnational education including branch campus of international university, for example, University of Nottingham with its tri-campus university model with campuses in Nottingham, United Kingdom, Semenyih, Malaysia, and Ningbo, China. Another example of transnational education is franchising. For example, UCSI University that offer pharmacy program from University Science Malaysia or USM. Another examples of transnational education including twinning program where, for example, in 2+1 course where student will study 2 years at home country and 1 year at source country. And the last example of transnational education is virtual education, which include MOOC or Massive Open Online Courses. UiTM is currently participating in MOOC where most of its courses is available online. In Asia, the trend of transnational education is increasing due to the value placed on degree of foreign universities and perceived effect of internalization graduates. It is perceived that transnational education graduates having desired skill sets and flexibility to interact with people from other culture. The perspective of transnational education. Perspective of transnational education can be seen from perspective of transnational cooperation. As a corporation, it is constantly seek opportunities to expand their market by reaching out their customers outside the physical borders. In this context, it is enable market-oriented college and universities to generate extra income that can help them face challenge of budget cuts. Transnational education also viewed from philosophical perspective, where it is potentially foster transcultural understanding and skills to work on issues collaborating with local, regional, international or transnational organization or to analyze transnational education programs. As for pedagogical perspective, transnational education is hoped to foster transnational understanding that involve locally informed pedagogy, including learning styles, preferences, cultural dimension, awareness, knowledge, and competence. Note that locally informed pedagogy is the word globally and locally combined together. The good and the bad of transnational education. The good of transnational education including the opportunities to pursue an international degree without leaving your own country. Studying abroad requires a huge sum of money. Another advantages of transnational education is to give exposure to pedagogies from foreign countries. Graduates will gain valuable soft skills such as communication and teamwork, which will most definitely help excel in workplace. Another advantages of transnational education including less worries from culture shock, where he or she cannot adapt quickly enough with local culture. The last advantages of transnational education including to reduce brain drain and pressure on local institutions. The downside of transnational education including westernization of culture, language, tradition, and heritage. The other disadvantages of transnational education including the program was not delivered as quality as their source country. This caused damaging reputation of the source country itself. The other disadvantages, including the certificate, might not recognized by employers. For example, United Arab Emirates or UAE government has only recently started to recognize certain online programs, but it is still enforced strict criteria for programs to be recognized. But more online programs are offered by universities to potential students without any recognition from authorities. This will cause wasting time, money, and effort on the student's side. Lastly, the disadvantages of transnational education, including fraud, poor retention rates, as well as lack of locally tailored content.
Thank you, Aisyah and Qamarul, who have discussed about international and transnational education. Now, we are going to see another 4 globalization issues which happen in Malaysia and other countries. These topics will be explained by Fatin, Nadzirah, and also me.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Fatin Nadzirah. So let's proceed with my part, which is brain drain and brain gain. First, we look to this video.
Countries around the world are competing for resources, and prime among those resources is human capital. When talent consistently leaves the country of birth for opportunities abroad, it creates a persistent drag on the home country's economy and blights its growth, a phenomenon recognized as brain drain. While brain drain affects the developed world, England, for example, sees over 1.1 million university graduates living and working outside of the country. The pain is most keenly felt in developing countries. A high proportion of high-skilled immigrants do not return to the home country. Overall, up to 1/5 of students who study abroad do not come back, at least not immediately. And there is evidence that those who go for their master's and PhD are least likely to return. An estimated 70% of Chinese students who study overseas never return to their homeland, and around half of African inventors live outside their home country. Due to brain drain, talent becomes scarce, more expensive, and hard to retain, and companies begin chasing few qualified individuals, triggering the cost of talent to become exorbitantly high. One temptation in handling the immigration of those educated out of the country might be to pull back on education initiatives, which could have negative side effects. Migration has been one of the major contributors to the development of the most talent-ready countries such as Singapore, Switzerland, and Canada. Also, the possibility of earning higher income encourages people to take education more seriously and to aspire for higher education. Furthermore, immigration of those who enter the talent pool has been found to stimulate the development of human capital. And if they do return home, they bring back useful skills and professional networks back with them.
From the video, I know that some of you can guess the meaning of brain drain and brain gain. So, brain drain is about country that experience of the immigration of highly qualified or talented person. Why? Brain gain is about country that get benefit consequence of the immigration of highly qualified person. There is a big comparison between brain drain and brain gain. Brain drain is about immigration. How immigration occur? Okay, it's occur when the individual who study abroad and complete in their education and do not return back to their home country, or when individual educated in their country but they immigrate for higher salary or for better opportunity. Next, brain gain. Brain gain is about immigration, when many qualified immigrants were coming to their home country from the different nation. Let me share the data and the survey that gathered by IMD. This graph is about global distribution of talent in 2016. The data were collected from 2000 until 2016. Okay, from the graph, you can see there is 4 quadrants. The first quadrant, this country experienced high level of brain drain without in turn attracting foreign talent. For example, Croatia, Greece, Bulgaria, and Brazil. For the second quadrant, this country experienced high level of brain drain, but this country still stable because they are able to remain to attract professionals from other countries, for example, Mexico, China, India, and Philippines. Okay, for the third quadrant, this country experience lower level of brain drain and high level of brain gain. For example, country of Norway, Netherlands, Canada, and Singapore. Okay, for the last quadrant, this country experience lower level of brain drain while experiencing low level of brain gain, such as Iceland and Finland. Okay, from this data, from the year 2000 until 2016, we know that countries of Croatia, Greece, Bulgaria, and Brazil are mostly affected with brain drain, while the country of Norway, Netherlands, Canada, and Singapore are experiencing of brain gain. This is finding regarding to the brain drain. Here I choose one country, which is Brazil. Let's see to this graph. The brain drain is considered the economic impact of human displacement. This graph is about index. The higher index, the higher number human displacement or immigration occur. From this graph, in 2007 to 2009, there is high index. In 2010 to 2040, it showed that the number of index slowly dropped, which is mean low immigration occur. In 2015-2018, the number of index increased till reached 4.8, which is similar the value of index in year 2010. What you think? How this could happen in Brazil and what happened at year of 2015? From my reading, from my research, I found the news of Global Risk Insight. I found that at year 2016, Brazil faced the political crisis and the political corruption. It also stated that the unemployment reached to 12%, that caused the Brazil country face huge of the immigration. Lots of people seek their job and opportunity in the other country. How about Malaysia? Do you think Malaysian face brain drain? This picture I took from the marketing magazine. There are list name of the talented Malaysian people, but unfortunately, they serve in other country. Here we can see that there are very high qualified person and very talented. They'll hold high position for a company in that country. How about this picture? I know that all of you know who's that person in this picture. Okay, this is Dr. Amalina Bakri. Dr. Amalina is very talented person. She is a surgery specialist and now she currently stay at London and work there. She is one of the person who contribute to the brain drain in our country. So, let me see together what happened in Malaysia. This article I took from the Malay May and it talk about why Malaysian people don't want to come back home. From the study World Bank in 2010-2011, it stated that 1 of 10 skilled Malaysians born in Malaysia choose to leave the country. A large number of skilled Malaysian professionals hold high position and work in many countries throughout the world except Malaysia. A factor that mentioned here, the government is not making enough effort to encourage Malaysian professionals from the overseas to come back and contribute to our country. Agency Telecom is claimed that 3,000 professionals have been brought back to work in Malaysia since 2011. However, this is just 0.2% of the total Malaysian diaspora currently living overseas. Next point about the factor of brain drain. So let me see the pull factor first, which is the first point is about technology gap. The country with high tech can attract people to their country. Second is about high salary. People are more attracted to the salary that provided by the country. And the third is about modern education. From the research on impact globalization on brain drain in Kazakhstan, it measured that students are aimed for quality of education and to get the higher qualification. And next point is about the push factor. First, economic underdevelopment. The second point is about desire for qualification, and the third is about lack of fund for scientific research and other facilities. Okay, for this, I found that issue occurred in Brazil. This country not able to provide fund to their scientists for doing research. Okay, what happened? The Brazil top scientists immigrate to other countries to make a living and find other countries that can appreciate their talents. The fourth point is about the low salary, and the last point about political issue. Okay, this political issue is also occur at Brazil. The corruption in politics cause a declining economy and force people to leave this country and find job at other country. Just now, I shared the Brazil country have the brain drain. Now, let me share about the Singapore that face high of the brain gain. United Nations have provided the data of immigration in Singapore from year 1990 to 2019. Malaysia is the big group that migrate into Singapore. Percentage of Malaysia has increased from 27% to 44%, which is 195,072 in 1990 to 952,291 in 2019. Okay, China is the second largest migrant group in Singapore at about 80%. Indonesia migrant at the rate of the 6.4% in 2019. Based on the 29 figure, this followed by Indian, which is 5.9%, Pakistan 5.1%, and Bangladesh 3.2%, while those from the Hong Kong and Macau are at 3.3%. In the 30 years period of the 1990 to 2019, the increase in migrant population from the 727,262 to 2.16 million has resulted in Singapore. The overall population size growing from the 3 million to 5.7 million in Singapore. That is one of the example countries that have high level of brain gain. Now let me show how this country do a transformation from the brain drain to brain gain. Let's watch this video.
Taiwan managed to lure back immigrants from Silicon Valley and build a thriving electronics and technology industry through other tactics. First, actively networking with the Taiwanese diaspora to promote their return. Second, subsidizing vocational rather than advanced education so that returnees would find a ready labor force, who in turn would benefit from their initiatives. And third, the creation of science parks that replicated the Silicon Valley environment and lifestyle that the returnees were used to. The best policies for encouraging brain circulation and investment from the diaspora is creating business-friendly policies that encourage entrepreneurship.
From the video, we can see that Taiwan was struggling to encourage their migrant people from the other country to come back to their homeland. Okay, first, Taiwan start with the have active networking with the Taiwanese people who migrate to promote their return. Second, vocational training. They more to the vocational training rather than advanced in education. And the last one is creation science park. Okay, that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatin Nadzirah, for explaining about brain drain and also brain gain. So in my part, I'm going to explain another two globalization issues which happen in other countries especially, which are brain width and also brain circulations. So let's see the definitions of these both terms. Brain waste means that people get jobs in which their education or working experience overqualified them. People with high professional or high educations or qualifications fail to utilize his skills or her skills and also education in the workplace. So from these two definitions of brain waste, we can see that it brings to the same meaning, in which brain waste happen when a person has higher education or have many working experience, but then he or she work in a low skill jobs or job which doesn't require high qualification. Now we move on to the definition of brain circulation. So brain circulation refers to the movement of skilled people or competent people from origin country, or we call as home country, to another country, or we call as destination. So in other words, it also defined as the movement of skilled people that happen globally. So the two key points from the definition of brain circulation is the movement of skilled people and other country. So in order for brain circulation to happen, a person need to move from origin country or home country to another country, or we call as destination. And sometimes these people also move to another country, or we call as the third country, before he or she coming back to home country. So sometimes in brain circulation it involves people to move in between 2 or 3 countries. Now we move on to some findings about brain waste. So in the first finding, it was a graph which I found from a written report with general support of the Asian Development Bank's Japan Fund for Poverty Reduction. So in this graph, it shows that 36% of all skilled migrants in OECD countries are overqualified relative to the jobs they hold. This share is much higher from people from Thailand, which is 52%. The Philippines, 47%, low PDR, 45%. In contrast, migrants from Malaysia and Singapore were the least likely to be overqualified, which are 22% and also 21% respectively, even when compared with OECD native-born college graduates, which is 28%. Another findings about brain waste is an article about the cause of brain waste among highly skilled immigrants in Washington state. So this article was written in 2016 to study the cause of brain waste among highly skilled immigrants in Washington state. So the key findings of this article was 23% out of 179,000 immigrants in Washington state are working in low-skilled job or unemployed. So these are two findings of brain waste which happen in OECD countries. Now we move on to the findings of brain circulation. The next finding about brain circulation I found from an article entitled Turning Brain Drain into Brain Circulations. So this article was written in 2006, and this article basically told us the flows of scientists, medical personnel and also engineers from developing country to a developed one. So the example mentioned in this article was about the expatriate Indians based in Silicon Valley in US who made to the growth of ideas of IT sector. I found this example quite popular whenever I search for brain circulation in internet. So this example will come out in several articles. And the next example of brain circulation also happened to Korea and also Taiwan. In both countries, the returning migrants were attracted to fill the key roles in what were already advanced research and development environment. So this example showed by India, Korea and also Taiwan tell us that the factors of the migration of these people from home country to another country or destination is because their country or the origin country is less developed, and at the same time they also want to work in sectors that suitable with their qualification. Next example happened to a person named Kenneth. So Kenneth wrote her story, which involved brain circulation, in a website of Association of American Colleges and Universities. So Kenneth and her mother migrated from rural Kenya to the city of Nairobi. Then Kenneth got scholarship from American universities, which allow her to earn degrees and also master degree. And then having American education and also some working experience, she is now an administrator and also faculty member at universities in the United States and also in Tanzania. Without spending 12 years in the United States, it is doubtful that she would have started an international charitable foundation that provides scholarships and extend educational enrichment program to vulnerable children from the slums where she was raised. Next findings about brain circulation happen in China, which I get from an article. So in the same article, the story of India expatriate that I mentioned earlier also being mentioned again in this article. So back to China, this country worried about the movement of students who went out from the country to other country to further their study. So they don't want to experience brain drain in which the loss of skilled people to other country. So in order to enhance brain circulation to happen in China, so China encourage people who study abroad to return to home country or China for a short visit, and sometimes the country engage these people in various programs in China. So in this example, it is clearly stated that the movement or the flow out of people from China to other country is because they want to further study or to enhance education. In order for brain circulation to happen, a person who moved out from the origin country must come back to home country. So the motives or the factors which encourage these people to come back to home country is because he or she cannot adjust to living elsewhere. It is not easy to live in other country or new country. We need to take time to familiar ourselves with the environment, with the new culture and also the society there. Even though an individual feels very comfortable to work abroad, he or she might not feel so when his personal life is considered. Next is hard to adapt in new society. People who find their families, friends, or personal life is more important than career opportunities or better living conditions tend to consider an option of returning home more often. Also, the economic situations in home country can change dramatically and there will be no more necessity to stay abroad. This is also one of the factors to encourage people to come back to home country. Another aspect is that an individual might feel gratitude to the home country and be interested in helping the sending country. In this case, one can contribute to the creation of welfare in his home country, not necessarily by returning home. This can be done by sharing one's knowledge and information or creating international networks to stimulate the exchange of ideas, experience, and resources. International movement of highly skilled ones might not always bring negative outcomes. The concept of brain circulation is now being used more often and does not have negative meaning. It actually provides benefits to both home country and also the destination. The first benefit of brain circulation is the person who migrate to other country able to establish a network abroad. In some cases, such networks can stimulate international cooperation between two or more countries. Next, by returning to the home country, highly qualified individuals can apply their knowledge and also experience acquired abroad to mobilize their resources and information in the home country so that they could be used in the most efficient way. However, the most important benefit of brain circulation is the exchange of ideas and experience in an international level. Being a part of an international network of professionals, skilled people can help to open their home country's market to the bigger market of the receiving country and encourage the cooperation between the two countries. Thank you everyone for watching our forum. In this forum, we have covered two types of education issues which are international and transnational education. In the next part, we have covered about four globalization issues which are brain drain, brain gain, brain waste and brain circulation. So hope to meet you in our next discussion session. Take care, stay safe and Assalamualaikum.